Have you ever just looked at a baby and wondered, what is going on in there? How does this tiny person who can't even talk eventually learn to figure out what we're thinking or feeling? Well, it's not magic. It's actually one of the most incredible journeys we all take, and it's a kind of superpower that makes us human. Okay, let's get into it. So, yeah, how do they do it? How does a baby's world go from being all about them, I'm hungry, I'm tired, to understanding that everyone else has a whole world inside their heads too, with their own thoughts, their own goals, their own beliefs? That's the big puzzle we're going to piece together in this explainer. There's a scientific name for this mind-reading superpower. It's called social cognition. And it's not just one thing. It's a whole toolkit of skills we start building from the moment we're born. This kit is what lets us connect and communicate and work together. And it all starts with one really simple but totally profound first step. And that very first step, it's all about sharing. See, before a baby can figure out what's on your mind, they have to learn to be in the same world with you, to look at the same things you're looking at, and to know that you're both in on it together. This is what we call joint attention, and it's so much more than just two people being in the same room. It's that active, shared moment. You know what I'm talking about. Imagine pointing at a dog and going, "Look!" The baby looks at the dog, then looks right back at you with a huge smile. That's it. That's the spark. It's the moment they realize, hey, we're doing this together. And this skill, wow, it just takes off. Check out the data on this slide from a classic study. At 6 months old, babies spent a pretty small amount of time in this shared state with their moms. But then look at that jump. By 15 months, it's a huge part of how they interact. They're quickly becoming experts at sharing our world. Okay, so sharing the world is step one, but that's not the whole story. The next level up is using another person's clues to figure out what's important in that world. It's about going from just sharing an experience to actually following someone's lead. So this is a really important distinction. Joint attention is kind of like being at a party together, just vibing. But attention following? That's when you see your friends suddenly look at something specific across the room, and you immediately turn to see what caught their eye. For a baby, that's a game changer. They're learning that our eyes, our fingers, they point to interesting stuff. Just how powerful is this skill? Well, researchers came up with this really clever experiment. They'd show a toddler two brand new toys. The researcher would only look at one of them, and while looking, they'd say a made-up word, like dodo. Then they'd turn to the kid and ask, "Can you show me the dodo?" And get this, the results were amazing. A huge majority of toddlers who were only 18 months old correctly picked the toy the researcher had been looking at. Think about that. They didn't just hear a random sound. They used the researcher's gaze as a clue to map that sound onto a specific object in the world. And that right there tells you something so fundamental. Following someone's gaze isn't just a neat trick, it's a key that literally unlocks language. Babies learn so many words just by watching where we're looking when we talk. It's incredible. Okay, let's do a quick recap of this social toolkit. It starts with joint attention, which really gets going in that first year. Then, around 12 months, babies get good at following a point. By 13 months, they're following where you look. But what's next? Well, the next step is even more amazing. Figuring out not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Right, so this next leap is all about seeing the difference between an accident and something done on purpose. It's about a baby starting to realize that our actions aren't random, they have intentions behind them. So to test this, researchers showed 14-month-olds an adult playing with a new toy. In one condition, the adult would do an action smoothly, look satisfied, and say, "There." But in the other condition, the adult would try to do the same action but pretend to mess it up, like their hand slipped, and they'd exclaim, "Whoops." So the big question was, which action would the babies choose to copy? And just look at what happened. The chart here tells the whole story, and it is so clear. The babies overwhelmingly copied the action that seemed intentional, the "there" one, and the "whoops" action, they almost never copied it. This is so cool. What it means is that by just over a year old, babies are already trying to read our minds. They're not just little parrots, they're selective. They don't just mimic what they see. They try to figure out what we intended to do. And that is a huge step toward understanding other people. All right, we've seen babies share a world, follow our clues, and understand our intentions. But now we're at the final boss level, the ultimate test of mind reading. Understanding that someone can believe something that isn't actually true.
This is tested with a classic scenario called the Sally Ann task. It's a simple little story. Here's Sally. She has a marble she loves. She puts her marble into a basket and then heads outside to play.
Now, here comes the twist. While Sally's gone, her friend Anne shows up. Anne takes the marble out of the basket and moves it into a box. Now, the child watching this whole thing knows exactly where the marble is, right? It's in the box. So here's the million-dollar question you ask the kid. When Sally comes back, where is she going to look for her marble? Now, to get this right, the child has to totally ignore what they know is true and put themselves in Sally's shoes. Younger kids will almost always say, the box, because they know the marble is in the box. But then, around 4.5 years old, something just clicks. Children suddenly get it. They realize Sally doesn't know what they know. She will look in the basket because she has a false belief. And that ability to understand that someone else's idea of the world can be different from reality, that is the peak of this superpower. That's theory of mind.
So we followed this incredible path from just sharing a look all the way to understanding a false belief, which, of course, leads to the really big question. Why does all of this matter so much?
Well, it matters because these skills are the absolute bedrock of human connection. They're essential for pretty much everything. Learning to talk, making friends, understanding social rules, feeling empathy for someone else. And studying this whole process also helps us understand developmental differences. For instance, research shows that kids with autism might take longer to pass that Sally Ann false belief test, but they can be just as good at understanding another person's intentions. It all builds, one piece on top of another to create this incredible ability to navigate our super complex social world. And it leaves you with this one last really fascinating thought. If each of these skills is a crucial block in the tower of human connection, what does it mean for all of us when just one of those pieces develops in its own unique way?